Hi, my name is TJ Temple, and welcome to my podcast. Alright, now first of all, before I dive into this week's topic, I do want to say thank you to all who have listened, who have followed, who have reached out and say that you've enjoyed the podcast thus far. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, that was the last week's episode. That was just the beginning. This is only the beginning, my friends, of what we're going to be doing here together. I've already got a few episodes lined up of things I want to talk about, so you're in good hands here on this podcast. We're going to be talking about real stuff here, real life, real things, not silly things that are not important. Like I said, I hope that what you get some value out of this podcast, as I enjoy bringing you this podcast every single week. So today I want to talk about human decency and civility in our country. Where has it gone? We've seemed to have lost our way anymore when it comes to being decent, being just a decent human being to others around us, and our civility, our standards as a country seem to have gone down, and I blame most of that, if not all of it, on our politicians, because they want you to pick a side. Both sides are guilty of this. Let's not sugarcoat this. Both sides are guilty. Maybe one more than the other, but still both sides are guilty of this because our politics today are a game. As you may heard from, if you listen to Chris Cuomo and the Chris Cuomo Project, I shouted him out last week. Of course, he talks about mental health on his podcast and life issues like we do on this podcast. But he talks about politics as a game, and he should know because, of course, that's exactly what it is. He's in a political family. His brother was the former governor of New York. His father was the former governor of New York, so he knows a thing or two about politics. But my thing is, the politics, that's all it is. It's a game. Listen, I am not Democrat nor Republican. I'm an independent first and foremost. I believe our two-party system is broken. I believe it has been for quite some time. And again, it's all about picking sides anymore. And it didn't start with Trump. It got worse with Trump in office, but it didn't start with him. This has been going on for years. Okay, but what I am saying is that we need to start treating others with the respect that they deserve. Yes, there are bad people out there. I'm not going to discount that. There are most certainly bad people out in this world. But if you get treated with respect, you should treat others with respect. As long as they treat you that way. It's not that hard. I mean, I don't understand why people think this is such a big issue. I want to go back to what happened with Paul Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's husband, the former Speaker of the House. Of course, he got attacked while in his home, in an attack that was politically motivated based on what happened in the 2020 election with Trump's loss. And by the way, he did lose. I'm not gonna pile on the BS that's saying, oh, the election was rigged. It's not rigged. None of our elections are rigged. So let's stop that. I get so sick and tired of hearing about that our elections are rigged and the elections were stolen. No, they weren't. You lost fair and square. Get over it. That's besides the point. Anyway, the reactions from both sides of the aisle were apples and oranges. They were so far apart. I mean, Trump did condemn the attack, most certainly, and I commend him for that. But his son went on Twitter not too long after made a joke about it because that's what he does. It's all funny now. It's all fun and games. That's what I'm talking about. Regardless of where you stand on the issue here, a man was attacked in his home while he was sleeping by a politically motivated person who thought the election was stolen and that Nancy Pelosi was lying. Are we kidding ourselves? Why is everything's about politics now? In case you haven't noticed, everything is attached to politics. That's also a problem. And I get so sick of that, you know. In 2024, which is coming around the corner, it's coming soon. We got an election coming up. I don't necessarily worry because I don't think Trump is going to get back into office. I don't think he will because I think there are better Republican candidates out there who don't echo Trump's sentiments or who aren't as deranged as him. I will be honest, yes, I'm an independent, but I do not like Trump. I can't stand him. I gave him a chance when he got elected. I don't like him now. I think he's a lunatic. I think he's nuts. I don't think he needs to be anywhere near the White House again because I worry deeply about what will happen to this country if he gets back in office. I will be completely honest about that. I wonder. I worry deeply as well about what will happen if he gets back in office. And I'm just speaking as an American here. I'm not speaking as a Democrat or a Republican or an independent. I'm pretty sure I made that clear. If you haven't got it already, that's on you and your political bias. Because I am not biased towards either party. I am an independent who listens to both sides of the aisle, who thinks our two-party system is broken, who thinks we do need term limits in Congress because we have too many 75, 80, 85-year-old people, 85-year-old people in our Congress, which there needs to be a term limit, or at least, at the very least, an age limit. We need more younger people around my age, mid-20s, later 20s, early 30s, in our Congress who have these ideas to make our country better. And as for civility, I hope we get back to it. I hope we become a more civil nation again, who uphold the standards of the Constitution. Our human decency as well. We've lost that. We've lost sight of that. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. Just treat each other. Just treat our other human beings the way they deserve to be treated, you know? It's really not that hard. I mean, I don't understand why. It's got nothing to do with politics. Being a decent human being has absolutely nothing to do with politics. It doesn't. It doesn't. Treating our fellow human beings with the respect they deserve, it's not a political statement. If I say hi to a gay person, it doesn't. If I'm friends with a gay person, which I do have friends who are bisexual, that doesn't make me a Democrat. It doesn't. Just because I think one way doesn't mean I'm a Democrat. Just because I think another way doesn't mean I'm a Republican. I mean, why is that so hard to understand? We are able to have different opinions in this country, but some people don't think that way. Some people think that just because you have a different opinion means you're automatically a Democrat, means you're automatically a Republican. And that is ridiculous. Okay? I'm allowed to have a different opinion just like you are. It's that simple. I mean, I don't get why it's such a difficult position to just be decent towards our other human beings. I don't understand it. So what can we do better as a nation? Well, first of all, like I said, we need to stop looking at our political bias. You need to stop looking at the world, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. You need to look at it as an American first and foremost. This is America. The parties don't control our country. The way we act, the way we treat each other, that's what makes this country great. And by the way, yes, this country was great before Trump. It will be great long after him. So don't let his political BS tell you otherwise, because it's just the truth. This country is great regardless of your political bias. We just need to start treating each other better, man. It's just, that's the way it's got to be. We got to treat each other better. And yes, we have issues that divide us right now. What's going on in Ukraine, abortion, this, that, and everything else. And you have the right to protest that. I'm not saying you don't. But there's a difference between protesting and rioting. Yes, the police brutality. Yes, there are police out there who think they are above the law and think they can do whatever they want. We do need police reform. I think we do. There are more good cops, though, than there are bad. Okay? We got to start coming together as a people, as a society, to try and fix these issues, not have them divide us even more. And again, it starts with our politicians. Our politicians need to come together on both sides of the aisle, whether that's Democrat, Republican, whatever. They need to come together and work towards the common good of the country, not just their party. That's what it has to come down to. So I thank you once again, everybody, for listening to this episode of the podcast. I know it was kind of short. I apologize, but I needed to get these things out. And on our next episode, we're going to be talking about one of the biggest sporting events of the year and why it has a deeper meaning than just a sporting event. Because it is more than just a sporting event. It's something that brings our culture together. I was just now talking about how we need to come together. That's something, this upcoming sporting event that's coming up here real soon is one of those things that brings us together each and every year. And I'm going to talk about it in the next episode. So I thank you for listening. Please follow, subscribe to the podcast on Anchor, Spotify, iHeartRadio. It's coming to Google Podcasts soon. I will let you know when on the TJT Podcast Facebook and Twitter pages. In the meantime, feel free to follow those podcast pages, TJT Podcast, as well as following me on social media, like my Facebook page, TJ Temple Media, and Twitter, I'm at TJ Temple Media. Please feel free to follow me there as well. So I thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of I've Got Something to Say. Until then, take care.